Hey guys, it's Carol and thank you for stopping by for my cross-stitching update. It's Mardi Gras. I don't celebrate Mardi Gras. I have been once. Actually I've been a couple times. Been a long time, but anyway, just bring it up. It is the beginning of March and I did not have productive February. I want to tell you that there were really good reasons why it wasn't productive, but the real answer is I had what should have been a simple plumbing problem in my house. Like a total, I knew what the problem was. My cartridge was old and needed replacing. That spiraled into a 2-week mess that eventually involved cutting into drywall, replacing a shower valve, and all DIY because we're trying to not put money in this bathroom right now. I have other house projects that I need to pay people for, and fixing a slightly leaky shower was not going to be one of them. Now, the problem is when I have things going wrong in one area of my life, like in this case, the plumbing, it tends to derail my ability to sit down and relax. And cross-stitching for me is incredibly relaxing. I find a flow in it when I get there so well. The problem is, if I'm struggling to get to the flow, I will doom scroll instead. And yes, that is absolutely what happened. So for Lent this year, which starts tomorrow with Ash Wednesday, I'm giving up social media because doom scrolling is the enemy. I know, I feel like since the beginning of the year, I've harped on that so much. But for me, it was finding that when I was feeling out of control in other parts of my life, that the need to doom scroll got more intense and I had a harder time resisting it. And it's funny, okay, and I'll tell myself, oh, I'm finding cool, useful, interesting things. I'm looking at pretty pictures, whatever the lie is. And the problem is, it doesn't make my day better and it means I don't get any stitching done. So here I am, 3 weeks after I filmed my last video, and I have not gotten as much done as I intended to. This isn't even about, I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointing anyone, not even really myself, just I wanted to do more, and then I have to look back and go, where did my time go? And the time was spent scrolling and not stitching. And the reason I bring up, at the very beginning, that I didn't get done what I was hoping to get done is, unfortunately, my daily 30 piece, which is Modern Folk Embroidery's No Time Like the Present. Here's where it was last time. And this is where it is. Unfortunately, as you can see, okay, so this is the end of the February section. Yeah, February did not get done. So I had made January, just squeaking through on the 31st, made it happen. And then I put it down for a little bit at the beginning of February. And my thought was, okay, I'll have no trouble staying caught up like I did in January. I didn't account for, doom scrolling. I didn't account for kids being home more than I expected. Husband working from home, so I wasn't talking to him on the phone, and so I bring that there is, in anything that we do that is a habit, there is the motivation to do it, the ability to do it, and to a certain extent a prompt. Okay, and yeah, I'm totally taking it from a book. I can't remember what the book was, but I now make fun of my dogs when they want to eat. They're greatly motivated, they're hungry. Their ability to feed themselves is non-existent because the food is in a bin and they don't have opposable thumbs. So what they do is turn around and prompt me to do it. I'll feed them when I feed them, but they will, particularly my oldest, she's very particular when she eats. So we now in my house have a joke about when she starts spinning around in circles, she has a prompt that tells her it's breakfast time, or that it's mostly breakfast time. It's tied to the kids going out the door. Well, in the case of this habit, I realized I don't have a good habit yet for this daily 30. When I sit down, I totally do the 30 minutes. But if I don't have something that's the prompt, in this case, I realized my prompt has been my husband driving to work. Well, he was driving to a different job site, so it was only a 15-minute drive as opposed to his normal 35-minute commute. And so and then the days he was working from home, so I had no prompt whatsoever. And it didn't occur, and I have this in the hoop, but I didn't have the thing that forced me to pick it up and work on it. And so I didn't get as far. And then the problem is I was falling behind, and I knew I was behind mid-month. It was Valentine's Day, and I'm okay, I need to be over here, and I was still back over here. I knew I wasn't going to make it for the month. And the problem is once I start falling behind, I really struggle to figure out how to but I'll tell myself, not only am I behind, but now I have to catch up and get ahead. the lies that I tell myself are pretty bad. And so I had been working yesterday. I was working in this. It's like, okay, I guess I'll just finish the February card. And this morning, I realized working on the February part was making me feel bad. Like, it made me not want to work on this at all. And so then becomes a reinforcing thing, which is really sad. I love this piece. It is beautiful. So today, and it's only March 4th, so this gives me at least, actually, I have 26 more days to figure this out. But I went ahead and was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just start on March. So it made me feel better. Like, way better. So this little part right here, this is the March bit I've done. It's not a lot, but my thought is I can just kind of go over here, and if I throw in one extra thread in the February part and help fill it in, and it's like in this, it's going to be like right through here because I'm going to need this as I'm coming across before I need this. But that way I don't have to worry about, like, February would catch itself up. If I get over here and I haven't caught up February, I mean, I can keep rolling across March and fill in February later. Whatever. The point is, right now, I'm just going to work on March and not worry about my prior progress. I think that'll work. But if nothing else, I mean, coming down and doing this made me feel a lot better. The other part is, like, in early February, for whatever reason, this flower, like, this part right here, I didn't enjoy stitching. The counting on it was a pain in the neck, which is why I ended up, like, not wanting to work on this, in addition to all the other things. But it also wasn't, like, I would do the look at it and be like, I should pick it up and just do it like the floss, and I didn't want to. This part was all, like, nice and easy. I don't know why projects do this to you. Like, it's not even how you want it, but that's just how they go sometimes. Anyway, so long story short, all of that, I'm just gonna fill in March. It's gonna be great. It's coming along. Given how well I've stayed on track of doing any of these type of stitch alongs before, this is actually still, like, miles better than I normally do. And I'm hoping that by the end of March I'm caught up. But if I'm not caught up by the end of March, again, I'm going to just keep working March. I'll do April next. February, I will fill in when the time is right. It is fine. I'll get there. It'll be great. So, yeah. But, again, my daily 30, like, it is interesting to run into, realize, hey, you have a habit, like I said, my ability to do it, my motivation, but sometimes if I just don't have the prompt. So, fortunately, I'm making more of an effort to try to create a different prompt that is not my husband walking out of the house in the morning. Next is my primary focus piece. This is Mirabilia Designs, Winter Queen. Here's where she was last time. And I have a little bit of progress on her. I thought that February would end up being a focus month on this piece, and it's not. That's because February didn't end up being a focus on much anything. So that's okay. Key thing, I'm happy that this right here, so there's white, and I don't know how well you can see it. The white is actually, like, all down here in line with this row of blue, and it's swooping across. So this entire thing is done. Filled in some more over here, and just more, basically most of what I did on this was white, which is unfortunately not very exciting because it doesn't show up on camera. Now in real life, it's DMC Blanc for this, so it's the more yellow of the two whites, so it stands out really nicely. This is just white 32 count linen. It's Weigart, so they're very base, like, boring white. The white of the linen is a touch bluer than the white of the floss, so in person you can see it pretty well. But I know when I take, like, the still photography of it, you can really see it. I don't know how well it shows up on this, where I have it, honestly, like, it's tilted away from the camera just a touch because I'm holding it up with my thumb behind the board. Like, I don't know how well you can see. But like I said, I got this done, brought this down some, more here, like a bunch right there. And I'm happy. Like, when I started the year, I was thinking to myself that this was going to be the first project I get done this year, and that everything should be aimed at making sure that this is the first of all the finishes I'm going to get done in 2025. And I think it was because I didn't realize just how much DMC is left. I still have all the beading up here. This one has a lot to go, and I am probably not going to be this is my next finish. It's the one I'm going to focus on working on, but I'm going to think of it, it's my big project that I'm focusing on, and it'll be fine. But it's just funny, again, how you, like, the unwritten assumptions that you're kind of, like, walking around with, and when I stop and said, oh, I expect this one to be my next one to be completed, but it's really got a pretty good ways to go, and I have other stuff that's closer. Am I even being reasonable? And the answer is no. I was not, in fact, being reasonable. And that's okay. So this one's, I mean, it's going along really nicely. It's actually funny. The board that I'm using to hold this, I'm about at the point where I'm gonna need to rotate it and like sit further back just so you can see it. Like it just barely fits this because this is as far down as I've stitched. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's coming along great. I love this project, and it will, so much like my daily 30, and this one's not really daily 30, this just comes out about 3 to 4 times a week. And I'm supposed to stitch like at least 3 lengths of floss on it when I do that. I don't always, but she's always out and ready to be worked on. So you'll be, I mean, be seeing a lot of her. You have been seeing a lot because so she comes out all the time, but I do love and cannot wait for this one to be done. One of the things that I was thinking of for February to make sure that I didn't get mad at myself later is to pull out the stocking that I want to have done for myself this year, and that is this Dimensions Gold collection. It is the Holy Night stocking. The art is by Richard Jesse Watson, and I pulled it out because if I want to get it done this year, I need to be working on it now. Here's where I was last time. And this is my progress. Okay, I'm really happy. So the blue is finally starting to show up. It is a 4/1 half cross on 18 counts, so the coverage is fantastic. I love how this looks. And so the cow is, oh, there's no more cow left to do. Any of these colors down here, this is the straw from the manger. The ear is done. St. Joseph is getting the beginning of an arm. So this is going really well. I did not put that much time into this. I think this was like 2 days worth of stitching, and I was, again, February was not a great stitching month for me, so when I say 2 days, like, some people have a lot done. I'm just happy I got any of this done. It looks so good. I am really enjoying picking this one up, and it was funny, I put it down actually so I could go back and work on No Time Like the Present, and I didn't want to because this is just, I love it. And it's full coverage, and I was kind of feeling a bit of a full coverage moment that day, so I'm looking forward to pulling this back out and getting this done. Well, I'd say, I mean, this year. Obviously, I want it to be a stocking this year, but I'm really hoping that I can get this one done in a relatively timely manner so that I can work on my husband's stocking. So, yeah, that's Holy Night stocking. My probable first finish for the year is the small that I've been pulling out a fair amount. This is Summer House Stitch Works Pears and Rosemary, and it is I think there might be a third piece, but anyway, it's a from their French Kitchen collection, and here's what was last time. And this is my progress. So time is all the way written out. All the Smyrna crosses have gone in. Starting working on this, I don't know how you say it. It's spelled out Romarin, I don't know, Romarin. Got started here. This ampersand still needs to be finished, but this Sprig of Thyme got done. It's so cute. The halfway mark is right here, so I'm not quite halfway done, but this one, all of that work was literally sitting at an HOA meeting. So it's really like this one, when I sit down and work on it, it is starting to fly. So I do hope to get it done in the next month or so, just because I need to finish, and I think I'm at the point where I'd like it to have like another finish, just to, you know, feel like I'm accomplishing things and not just starting things, but also so I can use the rest of the fabric, because it has the matching piece with blueberries and what was it? I don't remember what the herb is. Anyway, but yeah, it's like I said, it's also in the French Kitchen, so that would be, like I said, pretty exciting. I do like this one. Like this one makes me feel good because it's a small, but it's a small that has just enough going on that I don't feel like as soon as I'm starting, I'm finishing, and it's really pretty. The middle of the month brought some winter weather after we'd had a nice spell, but it got cold again. And so I decided to pull out Heaven and Earth Designs Winter Kiss. The artist is Adele Sessler, and this is where I was last time. This is the first full coverage I ever decided to do, and I jumped in with a big one because this is like over 400,000 stitches. I have done 15,000 roughly over here. Just kind of working here on page 3. I don't know exactly how many stitches I have because I don't use Pattern Keeper for this. I literally just have the printed off PDF and highlighter, and it's amazing. But it's coming along. Been doing more of the filling in the random stuff, so like the back is turning to almost look full because of where I'm traveling from, like here to here to here to here to get stuff stitched. The front a little less so, but it is coming along. Again, I think I say this every time I pull this piece out. It's not one that it's a priority for me in any way, shape, or form. It was just at the moment it felt good to pull out and do like 500 stitches. And I think that's what I told myself, is like, when I get 500, I'll just put it away. And then so I got this little like snowflake done. I mean, it's more of a blob because it's falling, but you get the idea. This one is a fun project, and I feel like I am getting better at handling the confetti. Like, initially when I started, and I had run into, like, this had been a problem with really any of the full coverage, is there's no block stitching whatsoever. And I didn't know how to mentally handle that. Because ultimately it's no different, like, yeah, searching from the next, but it's not any different than doing a monochromatic sampler where I'm still having to be very tedious about counting to leap to the next place or the start of a letter in the right spot. I just had to kind of get in the mindset if it's okay that this is a lot of literally X by X by X compared to, say, like my Mirabilias. I am doing them by rows, so they go a little faster because I do one whole leg to count, make sure it's right, and then the return leg, it's basically mindless. This is a little less of that, but it was just more of the, okay, and that's fine. This isn't perfect. Like, I mean, since I've already said I'm not even sure if I'll ever finish it, I don't have to feel bad. It should just be an enjoyable stitching, and I really feel like I cracked the code on that this time because, like I said, the confetti didn't bother me as much as it has in the past. I feel like I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. I enjoy it. I think right here is actually the guy's hair, because on the chart I could see like the shift in the symbols, and they're like, it's the same colors as over here with the exception of like some of the darker ones I haven't seen since this page, but it's just like how you can see them clustered together. I don't know. I just enjoyed it. I probably won't pull this one out for a while, but like I said, it was winter. It felt kind of cool to go into this. I do love how, and I'm looking, when I look at the camera viewer, how gray this looks, but in person, it's very blue with a smattering of almost pink colors. So a lot of this is like 415, 762, 3023, 3072, those kind of colors. And then 452 and 453. So that can be, it's interesting because when you're really up close to it, you see like the purple, and like I said, more of a purple tone, but okay, the pinks right next to the blues. And then you step back, all it takes is about a foot, and you're like, oh, and that just is like, it's gray, and it reads as a really like neat, I don't know, it's neat. I'm glad that honestly the computer software can do this and make what looks pretty cool, like if you step back. So but yeah, I probably should have picked a smaller full coverage for my very first full coverage, which is why I think I get bogged down when I pull this one out, at least in the past, but I'm enjoying it. Towards the beginning of the month, I decided that I wanted to have some quality stitching time with Modern Folk Embroidery is the Fruit of Plenty. Here's where it was last time. So I spent a little time on this in February. I didn't really have any particular like vision of how much I wanted to get done, but this is the bottom. It's and this is the edge over here. So there's really not a lot right here. So there's that missing. This is missing. I don't know how well you can see it because it's like off in the corner. I'm like, but, and this is supposed to be my initial. I'm not going to do that until I actually reach the card that has the alphabet on it, because I am doing this. In 2021, these were actually released. You could get it as the full booklet, I think, at the end of the year, and had like the added extra houses, but you could also get it as a monthly card. He hasn't done that since 2021, but I got them that way because I enjoy it, but it means I don't actually have the font to do my initials, so I just have to leave this as a blank right now, and then when I get to that, I'll come back and put it in. But given that I really didn't even intend on, this one came out as more of a lark. I don't even remember why. I was like, oh, well, I have it. I'll just do a little bit and it'll be fine. I think it was, I had run into like some floss that was sitting in one of my travel pouches, and I was like, oh, well, why don't I just go ahead and put it in the chart and call it good for this month? And it ended up, I put in more than I intended because I used all that up and then pulled some more, but I really love this piece. Like, it's just mostly that I'm not going to spend any time on it in March because from a stitching standpoint, it feels, the colors are obviously different. I'm using different fabric. This is a even weave. It's on Viril, which is 100% cotton, as opposed to No Time Like the Present is on a 36 count linen. But the actual stitching process and how I'm thinking it, they're pretty much identical. So I'm going to try, I want to get No Time Like the Present caught up. So I'm not going to work on this in March until I get that one back on track. But this, I don't know, getting down to the bottom of this, really I feel good because this has been a beast. I know that there's going to be more of that over here. It's fine. I'll get to it when I get to it. But in the meantime, I'm just like, oh, this feels good. So this one, I love it. I hate it. I hate that I love it. I love that I hate it. It is very confusing. Like, my feelings can be all over the place with this project. It's fine. I think we all have projects like that. I mean, this is truly one of my favorites. I love looking at it. I even love stitching on it. It's just that it can be one of those that I need to balance it with other projects. Otherwise, I get very bogged down. So, yeah, but it's going well. And the last piece that I worked on in February was Custom Crafts Autumn Chapel. The artist is Mark Keatley, and you can also get, because this is actually charted by Artisy, you can get the PDFs from Artisy. I don't know if Custom Crafts is still putting out this is in booklet form, but I do enjoy it. I mean, it looks, it's a big old chart, but it looks pretty much like the PDFs. But since I do everything by hand anyway, like I don't really see any downside to this by doing like the PDF. It's just whatever. In this case, I got it at my LNS, so that made it convenient. But I have the rest of the seasons from Artisy, and they're the same size, so that'll be kind of cool. Here's where I was last time. So one of the things that is fun about Ada is that I can sit here and hold it and not have to use a board to prop it up and worry about show through, and it's so well mannered when it comes to this. The only thing is my arm can get kind of tired holding it up, but I just think that's kind of funny. Anyway, I am almost caught up from the other side that I have. I said almost, it's not quite. Like, if you see, it's still more densely down on the old section, but as far as like what I can see, because this has been filling in a little better, and so the edge here, now again, there's a bunch of gaps in here, but this edge is lining up with that old edge, so I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm not there, but I am catching up, and so I'm feeling a little better about the fact that since I did have to restart this, that I didn't in the end lose anything, because that was something that when I did the restart really was like, I was bothered by that. This I'm just doing basic cross country. I kind of doing by the 10 by 10 in a diagonal this way and just kind of working back. So I think it was at one point I was really feeling like, ooh, should I be doing a full coverage February? And I wanted to pull this one out because it has honestly some really pretty colors. And then I realized I don't really need stunt stitching in my life. Like, nothing against the idea of a full coverage February, sampler September, all the ones. I think there's a Mirabilia May. I don't know. I just can't do it. No. That said, I was really happy that I worked on this. I think, and I worked on this one before I worked on Winter Kiss, and I think this is really what helped me be a little more like, it's fine, I can do Winter Kiss. And it's, because it's really, I mean, the stitching style is not hugely different. The only difference is I do have a little gridding on here. It is graphite pencil. Yes, I know you're not supposed to do that. All of this is under very dark colors, so I'm not worried about it. Once it gets to the light stuff over here, I'm not even going to bother with marking it. I find that most of these don't have to jump too far, so it is a different experience than working on the 25 count. This is an 18 count, but yeah, I realized, I was like, and I was working on this, I was like, okay, I like it, it's pretty, and I want to focus on a piece like this one, but I don't want to focus on this piece right now. And I think I had pulled it out specifically because it was full coverage, and I was like, So I need to do that. Is this what's really calling me right now? So at least I have discovered that for myself, I should work on blank while they make for great alliteration for one's social media. I can't do that. It doesn't work for me. The full coverage, by the way, works for me just fine. It's just I felt like I was pushing myself to work on this one because I definitely didn't want to work on Tintern Abbey, and which I should. Like, that one's coming out this month. I have been trying to like work out a little bit more of like, not so much plans. I'm doing it as a weekly right now, and I'm not sharing with you because I actually misplaced I have like a pad of paper, and it's supposed to be like for a weekly planner, and I literally just wrote my cross stitch on it, and then I misplaced it. So I have like a list of like 8 projects that I'm going to be working on this next week, and kind of like here's the days. Like, so 3 days are given over to Winter Queen. There's my daily 30 every single day. Like, I really gave it some thought, and then I misplaced it. But one of the things I found is that when I sit down and do it that way, I can feel which projects at a moment are calling to me, and there are projects that'll call to me and I'll be like, okay, I definitely want to work on you. And then I will hit a point and be like, oh no, we are done for now, and it needs to go into hibernation for a couple months before I want to look at it again. And this one I had pulled out thinking, oh man, I'm going to really want to work on it, and I didn't. So I guess also saying like the stuff I didn't get done in February was in large part due to me setting myself up to have to kind of, I don't want to say struggle because that is way too strong of a verb. It's more of instead of making it easy for me to do things, I was having to use motivation to clear hurdles that I was setting in front of myself. It happens. It's a thing. Whatever. But yeah, so like I said, and I just think, I love this piece. I think it's beautiful. The colors in it weren't talking to me at the moment I was stitching on it, which probably should have been an indication. Put this one away for a little bit. So that's what I'm gonna do. Like I said, it is interesting when you're sitting there with the paper and a pen and they're like, okay, what do I want to work on this week? And because I know I've messed with doing like the various like decision wheels, and right now it's more of a, hey, what are the things that I went and pulled out? Hey, this is the list of the ones that I want to like get finished this year. What of them is talking to me right now? And so kind of preferencing them. Like, I don't know. It's kind of, I guess it's part of the trusting myself. If I think that I want to work on something in a week, when I sit there and write it down, it'll actually be obvious. If I just pull out the project bag and put it near my stitching spot, I think I can lie to myself more. Oh, I really want to work on that, and then I won't grab it. Or if I pull it and grab it and work on it, I don't really want to. But if I write it down, like when I was doing it last week, wrote down stuff, and I'd be like, oh no, I don't really want to do that, and like literally immediately line it out, because it was like almost like the act of writing made it a little more like, is this really what I want? No, it's not what I really want right now. I don't know. In the end, I mean, it's a hobby. It doesn't matter if I do any of these, but I do love them. So, and one of the things I find, it's like so much else in your life. If you do a little bit of it and it's something you enjoy, you'll find yourself doing more of it, particularly if you make it easy for yourself. So, I don't know, it's kind of like reading books. Like, I love reading, but sometimes, particularly if I'm reading something that's hard, and then I'll be like, okay, I can't read anything else. Whereas if I give myself permission, okay, I have a book hanging out on the nightstand, I have a book that's first thing in the morning. I have like 4 books that are sitting around this house that I'm like working on right now, and it doesn't matter if they're super slow, but it's like if I do like some of it, it makes me want to do more of all of it. Whereas if I try to do this is my plan, I need to get this one done because I need it for book club on this Saturday, guess what doesn't get done? It's almost like I'm fighting myself. I'm in my 40s. Why am I having to fight my own brain like this? It's funny because my kids will ask me, like, does it ever get easier? And I'm like, are you going to be not human? Because being human means that you're going to be struggling with yourself your entire life. Have fun with that, kids. It sounds so bad. Yeah, with all that is I'm like this absolute like cheerful, like, hey, I'm trying to get more cross stitching done and didn't happen this month. Okay, guess what? March is a new month. The best thing is that every week I feel like I get to start fresh in the thing I want to do. And as long as I'm honest with myself on what are the things that I want to do and how can I accomplish them, then I don't want to say they get done, but it is easier to do them. And I can be less upset with myself when I'm choosing to do something other than what I think I'm supposed to be doing. And again, no social media because for Lent, I need none of it. I told my husband he can still send me memes and text, but I am not going to go seek them out myself. So, because again, I need to not be doom scrolling. So hopefully I'll have like a ton next time I'm here, or at least some progress, because I love that. I mean, I will say, when I sit here and like later on put all the video together and can see how much I've gotten done from like one video to like another video, it's like the most motivating thing in the universe. It makes me want to stitch more. I hope that you're having a great week in everything you're doing. I will see you next time, hopefully next week, but no promises. Never any promises here. But thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye.